Good morning, my friends. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. I'm taping this video in beautiful Palm Springs. Well, it's Monday morning, which means yesterday was Saint Valentine's Day. How was your Valentine's Day? Valentine's Day is a lover's holiday, which means it divides the world up into people in relationships and those out of relationships, and it pretty much punishes those outside of a relationship. No bueno. Those who are in a relationship on Valentine's Day can often face great pressure. They're told that they have to give a very expensive gift. They have to buy an expensive meal out. And they're told that everything has to be just so. Does that sound familiar? Aren't we told the same thing on other holidays? That for Thanksgiving, or for Christmas, or for Easter, or for Passover, or for 4th of July, or for Memorial Day, or for Labor Day, everything has to be just so. What a profoundly efficient way of multiplying the pressure that we feel in life. This is going to be a controversial video because I've taken to drinking water. It's terrible. As I've mentioned in the 40th chapter of the Tao Te Ching, we are taught that the path of the Tao is not a patriarchal path, but a matriarchal path. Not a yang path, but a yin path. Not a direct path, but a circuitous path. Not a path of advancement, but a path of yielding. Most self-help teachers teach from the perspective of yang, of control, of chaotic contrivance. Although Lao Tzu and arguably Buddha taught from the path of the feminine, path of yielding, path of centered spontaneity. We're going to explore how these two affect our ability to plan and our ability to be resilient. So let's be as specific as possible. Yesterday was St. Valentine's Day. Now, yes, not every couple had a blissful experience. Most couples experienced a bump on the road of their relationship. Now, a yang-oriented teacher would say, listen, we select our moods, we select our thoughts, we select our moods and thoughts of those around us. We live in an interdependent universe, and therefore, if our choices and our emotions are impeccable, our circumstances, our experience, and that of others will be to our choosing. If things didn't go exactly as planned, it's a personal failing. Therefore, come to my new course, buy my new manual, and you too will have perfect Valentine's Day experiences. Blah, blah, blah. But did you know that in the most authentic writing attributed to the Buddha, the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, a greater discourse upon the four bases of mindfulness, cause and effect is not really explored in terms of manifesting the mood of your choice or the thought of your choice or the circumstance of your choice or the circumstance, mood, or thoughts of your companions. It's only really looked at internally at how our raw sense contact experiences our evaluations as to whether things are pleasurable or painful or neither, and how those evaluations affect our labels. For instance, whether something is horrible or whether something is awesome. Those labels have an effect upon the stories we tell ourselves. This is horrible, and this is why, because one time when I was a little boy, blah, blah, blah. Or this is great, and this is why, because on this self-help novel I read, it said blah, blah, blah. And stories can affect our moods. Now, listen carefully. Nowhere in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, when it comes to the tales of the five aggregates, are we told to choose a raw sense contact, or to choose an evaluation, or to choose label, or to choose a story, or to choose a mood. That is glaringly absent. All we are told is to observe the mood that is present or absent, its external manifestations, its internal manifestations, its coming, its going, its presence, and its absence. How it relates to the other five aggregates. We're not told to manipulate or choose or adjust or modify. We're taught to notice. Now that's huge. That's not a yang, hands-on, controlling paradigm. That's a very passive yin paradigm. Noticing and yielding. Relaxing. Sometimes in the Buddhist scripture, that form of relaxation is described as tranquilizing or calming. We're not told to calm our thoughts or emotions or circumstances. We're told to notice them and relax, to make peace with the present moment. We don't make peace with the present moment by changing it. We either accept or reject. And when we reject something, then we tend to modify it. So, modifying and accepting are opposite energies. Modifying is yang, accepting is yin. Often we can say, and I've been guilty of this myself, my buddy, my pal, my sweetheart, my friend, my lover, my chondro, whatever it may be. My partner is experiencing a painful emotion at this moment. Then we ask ourselves, how did I fuck up? Or we notice, I'm experiencing a painful thought or a painful emotion at this moment. What did I do wrong? Friends, men, women, what if that was an inappropriate question? What if that was a question based on the assumption that our journey upon the spiritual path is determined by our random thoughts or emotions or circumstances? Consider, if you will, the iconography, the archetype of an aging Taoist sage riding on the back of an ox. Well, first of all, as a vegan, I don't like exploiting animals. I'd rather feed animals and speak to them the way I would, a puppy. Who's a good ox? You're a good ox, aren't you? I like treating oxen like basset hound because I'm stupid that way. So we do not look at the image of Lao Tzu riding an ox as an invitation to exploit animals, blah, blah, blah. But it is an empowering metaphor. Because when we look closely at that artwork, we notice Lao Tzu is holding no reins, and that the ox has no bit in its mouth and no bridle upon its head. With no bit and no bridle and no reins, Lao Tzu exerts no control over the ox. An ox, 9 times out of 10, is a huge, lumbering beast, several hundred pounds, often more than 1,000 pounds. How a human weighing between 1 and 200 pounds can hope to control a 1,000-pound entity with no bit and no bridle and no reins is naive, because the fact is a 200-pound human cannot control a 1,000-pound ox. Not gonna happen. When we look at images or statues of Lao Tzu upon the back of a great ox, we don't see him scared. We don't see him frustrated. We see him blissed out. He is not controlling whether the ox stands or wanders. He does not control the direction or the speed of the ox's journey. He is going along for the ride. Now, from a yang point of view, that is a horrifying idea. From a yin point of view, that is the path. How does one have a happy, peaceful, fulfilling life in a world where we are ostensibly not in control? Any dithering idiot can be happy when everything is going his way or her way all the time. When every thought is pleasurable, when every emotion is pleasurable, when every circumstance is pleasurable, and those 3 things are pleasurable for everyone they encounter, life's a bowl of cherries. So in that scenario, anyone can be happy. What separates the men from the boys or the women from the girls is, can they be happy in the midst of unpleasant thoughts and unpleasant emotions and unpleasant circumstances for themselves and others? From a yang point of view, an unpleasant thought in oneself or others, or an unpleasant emotion in oneself and others, or an unpleasant circumstance for oneself and others, constitute a spiritual failure. From a yin point of view, those 3 unpleasantries are neither a failure nor a victory. They simply are. From a yang point of view, we're going to try to manipulate ourselves and our others and our circumstances to get what we want. From a yin point of view, we center by noticing our experience and relaxing. By noticing the experience of those we love, and relaxing. And in that centeredness, we are open to spontaneous thoughts, emotions, and utterances and behaviors, not for the sake of manipulating ourselves or others or our experiences, but for its own sake. Centered spontaneity for the sake of centered spontaneity. And here's the thing. If our spontaneity is chaotic, it can be malicious and destructive. When our spontaneity is centered, it is compassionate. It is spontaneously compassionate. Any minute now you may see my roommate's cat's face looming like Godzilla over Tokyo. Welcome to my life. Once we begin saying to ourselves, should I pursue this thought or indulge this emotion or allow this circumstance? How's it going to affect me? How's it going to affect my companion? We become controlling. We're no longer observing and relaxing. We're observing and conniving. Okay, right now there are two cats on the table supporting this video. So it's going to be interesting what happens next. Let's continue. There is a delightful passage within the Tao Te Ching, the philosophical and poetic opus magnus attributed to Lao Tzu, the father of Taoism. The passage reads, and I paraphrase, "Do not try to take the master carpenter's place. If you use the master carpenter's tools, odds are you'll cut yourself." Contrary to what some fundamentalists may choose to believe, the passage is not arguing for or against the existence of a god or a celestial being or a pantheon. It's speaking metaphorically. Don't try to play God for yourself or for others, selfishly or altruistically. Any of us who have ever loved another knows what it's like to see them in pain and feel ourselves lose all peace as we try to control all the things in our life that are giving them pain. It's great that we want to get rid of their pain. That's called compassion. But we must do so in harmony with the Tao. The only way we can truly be an asset to those we love is by habituating the centering that notices and relaxes and sets space for the spontaneity that makes us a man or a woman of the Tao. As a man or a woman of the Tao, there is no guarantee on our thoughts, emotions, or circumstances are those of whom we love. No guarantee at all. So we can say, so what is the test of something being the right thing? And here comes the cat. And there he is. Oh, denizens of Tokyo, meet your free-faced Godzilla. The test of success is whether in the presence or absence of the thoughts, emotions, and circumstances of our choosing, do we remain in centered spontaneity? Do we continue to notice and relax and flow, regardless of what comes up, whether it's pleasure or pain, or fear or peace, or anger or joy, whatever comes up, do we continue to notice, relax, and flow? Now, when things don't go according to plan, it's neither good nor bad to be frustrated. It's profoundly natural to be frustrated. And there goes the cat. That frustration is neither a victory, a proof of her love, nor a failure, the undermining of her peace. It just is. This isn't my opinion. This is the teachings of an ancient philosophical system. The Tao Te Ching is the world's most read book, second only to the Bible. That's huge. It is an ancient text, more than 26 centuries old. Why is it so popular? Because of its universal applicability. All of us have tried to be the master carpenter. All of us have cut ourselves trying to play God. All of us have tried to control our and others' thoughts, emotions, and circumstances. All of us experienced great frustration in the process. And now it's time for something better. Now it's time to step upon the path of yin, the true path of matriarchy, not false matriarchy. What's the difference? False matriarchy is just like patriarchy, only it changes some of the superficial manifestations. But true matriarchy is in harmony with the Tao. It's in harmony with deep yin, and contains within it the potentiality to transform all of humankind and our relationship with the planet and all the planet's denizens, which is awesome. So how do we do this? What do we do when the maitre d' loses our reservation, or when the waiter is rude, or when one of a billion factors influence us, our date, or our sweetheart, in a way that we don't want to happen? Because no one in the right mind wants adversity for a loved one. What do we do? Notice, relax, and flow. Now, noticing and relaxing and flowing can be compared to tantric sex. How is that? Do we take our clothes off at the restaurant when the waiters are rude to us? No, please don't do that. People ask me about tantric sex all the time, and I say, yes, there are many schools of tantric sex. I practice the Buddhist and Taoist liberal perspective on the subject. But know this, if you can't meditate with your clothes on, you probably can't meditate with your clothes off while receiving your favorite sexual pleasure, favor. Likewise, if you can't meditate on noticing, relaxing, and flowing in relative calm on your meditation cushion for an hour every morning and an hour every evening, then you probably can't meditate in the midst of a loud restaurant while your partner is having a meltdown. Probably not gonna work for you. So the first thing is set aside an hour every morning and an hour every night to meditate on noticing and relaxing and flowing. This series of videos will be happy to teach you, and yours truly is always putting on a weekly webinar that you can attend through your digital device, and you can learn this stuff super easy. but learn it and master it and get comfortable with it. Noticing, relaxing, and flowing is no guarantee that life is going to be a bowl of cherries. But it's our only hope of having a truly meaningful, fulfilling, peaceful life. It's like what my first stepfather taught me about gambling. He said there's two types of gamblers. Those who gamble not to lose big, and those who gamble to win big. If you gamble not to lose big, it is an absolute certitude you will never win big. It's not going to happen. Can't happen. The only possibility of winning big is to gamble with that strategy. But as any gambler will tell you, it's a mistake to confuse possibility with probability. So although our only hope of winning big is to gamble big, it's no guarantee we'll win big. Likewise, making a habit and mastering the habit of noticing, relaxing, and flowing is no guarantee that life is going to be a bowl of cherries in every second. But it's our only hope of maximizing the probability of a peaceful, fulfilling, happy, meaningful life. Whether you're single or partnered, whether you're male, female, whether you're male, female, or some delicious permutation of all the above, whether you're gay or straight or some delicious permutation of that, may all your Valentine's days be happy. May all your relationships be fulfilling, even when they're not. May we be the eye in the center of a storm when our and others' thoughts and emotions or circumstances are not of our preference. I look forward to helping you. If you have a specific question, please address it to me in the comment area below the video. And remember, the Saturday series of weekly webinars begins March 5th. It's only by donation, which means some give a lot, some give little, some give nothing. There are only two demands your teacher has of you. Show up 5 minutes early and do your damn homework.